I love the fact that we focus on one thing, make data movement as simple as essentially turning on your lights.
Ingesting some data looks super easy.
AI, ML, Gen AI.
All right, folks. So today we are with Kelly. Kelly is working for Fivetran, and Fivetran is specialized in moving the data around. I know a lot of customers are using Fivetran at Databricks. Kelly, why don't you talk a little bit more about you and what you do at Fivetran?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Quentin. It's great to be here, by the way. Really appreciate you having me on the show. Yeah, so I've got partner sales engineering. I've got a small global team that is working with our top technology partners like Databricks, plus consulting partners around the world, helping to really put together really innovative data solutions, helping use Fivetran better across that data ecosystem. So I have personally been around in the data space for a good while. Spent time at Oracle, spent time in Hadoop land with Hortonworks, and the 5 to 6 years prior to Fivetran, I was in the data consulting space with HashMap and NTT Data, and have really enjoyed these last couple of years over at Fivetran. It was an easy transition for me because I was already recommending Fivetran a lot to my clients, and so it was a natural transition to say, hey, all that speed, simplicity, operational sustainability, and self-service I've been talking about, now I'm representing one of those products in the mix that does that. So
Awesome. So can you tell us about Fivetran? What, in just a few words, what's Fivetran doing and why are customers using Fivetran? Maybe a few, I don't know, a few use cases, a few examples with a few customers would help to understand.
yeah, absolutely. It's think of Fivetran very simply as an automated data movement platform, and one of the things I talk a lot about is I love the fact that we focus on one thing. I think the more you get, kind of you move into different areas, it can dilute your focus. And our CEO has been very clear that we have a very large remit to make data movement as simple as essentially turning on your lights. Don't make me think about it. Don't make me know what infrastructure is behind it. Don't make me configure anything. And we've got over today 8,000 customers that are doing that very thing with Fivetran across pretty much any source you can imagine: databases, applications, file systems, event systems. You think about what's the toughest thing to me when you think about Databricks Lakehouse. I've got so many incredible data workloads that the Databricks Lakehouse drives. Everything from data warehousing to data lakehouse to data applications, AI, ML, Gen AI, everything in between. But there's a common theme that I need for each one of those Databricks Lakehouse workloads, and that is high quality, trusted, usable data that's easily understandable, and it's organized, and it's really analytics ready. And to me, that's what Fivetran does exceptionally well, again, across any data source. So the easy way to think about it is any data source, any Databricks Lakehouse data workload.
All right, sounds good. And most of the use case would be around, would it be more the analytics use cases, or are you also doing more real time, like
It's
Kafka real time use cases?
Yeah, it's really anything. The way I put it is, if you've got a workload that's fit for purpose for the Databricks Lakehouse, chances are Fivetran is going to have a really good fit with our sources, because we have over 500 today across just about any category that you can imagine. So a nice thing, just like Databricks, we go across industries. So you think, okay, can I help with personalization or fraud detection in financial services? What about customer 360 or product recommendations in retail or CPG? Predictive analytics or machine maintenance types of use cases in a manufacturing or industrial setting. And again, the industries just keep going, much like Databricks. We're not limited by industry. In fact, you think about the types of data that we're moving into the Lakehouse, those pretty much stay the same. It's just how, based on your industry, you're going to apply it to each one of those use cases, and what's that Databricks Lakehouse workload that you're looking to drive. Do I need to go near real time? Is it more incremental over the course of an hour or a day? And we can really adjust to all of those. Fivetran's platform does everything from continuous sync all the way through. If I want to schedule it every 24 hours, I can do it that way as well. And you have a range of deployment options too. If I want pure SaaS, I've got pure SaaS. If I want to deploy my data capture and data integration and data movement technology behind my firewall on-prem or in a private cloud before I send it up to Databricks, I can do that as well with Fivetran self-hosted private deployment.
I feel like, sometimes a lot of people can think that connecting to a new data source and ingesting some data looks super easy. Like I can open a connection to MySQL, I can open a connection to Salesforce and just
Yeah.
dump the data. What's the challenge here? Why do I need something like Fivetran to ingest my data?
Yeah, it's tough. I go back to the days of Hadoop, like I said, and long before that. And I think I always like to think about, especially if I'm an enterprise, can I get standardization and predictability in what I'm doing from a data pipeline standpoint? Because it is the first step to getting to those data outcomes, and it's more than just building. When I ask consulting firms, large GSIs and SIs, I work with those types of partners a lot, and say, how many sprints does it take to build a single data pipeline? A single data pipeline. Generally, the answer is somewhere in that 4 to 8 sprint range. So you're talking 8 weeks to 16 weeks to design it, build it, test it, deploy it, automate it, document it, maintain it. And then once they get really, honest with me, they go, you know what, Kelly? Actually, it never ends because something's always changing. That DML or DDL on a database, a change is happening in my Salesforce application, my Workday application, my ServiceNow application. I'm getting files added to an object store like S3 or something like that I want to move all this data into Databricks. How do I handle all those changes? To me, that's one of the biggest things, is refactoring for those edge cases and handling that change detection. It is exceptionally hard to do at scale, and you try doing it for, let's say, at an enterprise, 100 different data sources for one single type of data source. Do that 100 times. The amount of people that you have to have is just incredibly high, and the time devoted to that is incredibly high. I would rather my data engineering team and my application team be focused on downstream building really high quality data, building out use cases in the lakehouse off of those workloads, and not worrying about keeping pipelines up and running, and kind of keep my fingers crossed and hope nothing breaks syndrome. So we're going to get you out of that. To give me 2 more weeks, 2 more weeks, 2 more weeks to build the pipeline. Just one more sprint. I think everybody's been there, and we can build. We create these pipelines exceptionally fast. We'll see that today as we move into the demo.
Yeah, and I can relate to that. I know one project, and it was kind of just dumping a lot of Postgre database into their bricks. It looked easy at the beginning, and I think it took them many sprints. Like as you just said, like it was way too long just to ingest some data, and Fivetran could have done that in just one day or two. So
Yeah, I always like to think if when we pair the power of Databricks up with Fivetran, and let's say there's a consulting firm, or let's just say it's a client that's picked this up. We have Databricks has done an incredible job working with Fivetran on things like Partner Connect, where from the Databricks console, I can connect directly to Fivetran, automatically spin up a warehouse that Fivetran is going to use, my users, my roles, my permissions, all those kind of things. There's really nothing to it. I'm moving data in a very short period of time into the lakehouse. So a lot of little things like that, I think, that can accelerate that time to outcome, speed to impact, whatever you want to call it. I need to reduce my data product and service backlog. And I think taking care of the front end with data moving in is really important in order to be able to do that.
all right. So why don't we give it a try? And do you have a demo ready that we can use to see how to connect to their bricks using the Partner Connect?
Yes, I do. I love demoing. That's one of my favorite things. It's okay, Quentin. I will share my entire screen. All right. So I may refer to a couple of slides as we go through here. I think what I'm going to look at showing today here, let me go full mode on this, is we'll set up over the course of maybe the next 10 minutes, we'll set up an SAP ERP connector and a Salesforce connector using Fivetran to the Databricks Lakehouse. And then And you gave me a tip a few weeks ago when we were talking. Say, hey Kelly, check out Databricks Lakeview dashboards. So I love Lakeview dashboards. I am totally sold on that. So I may try to attempt a quick Lakeview dashboard over some of that data that we just moved into the Databricks Lakehouse. So that's what we're going to do. And like you talked about, or I talked about, and you asked about, like, cross industry. SAP, Salesforce, those are cross industry, and your industry use cases, outcomes, and those data outcomes that you're delivering are going to be very, very specific to those industries. I have 3 represented up there, but that could be insurance, that could be media and entertainment, that could be energy, you name the use case. All right. So what I've got up here, a couple more tabs. I've got the Fivetran. I'm going to hide that, so we got a clean screen there. Got the Fivetran UI up here. I've also got Databricks workspace up here as well. I'm Databricks and Fivetran both support Azure, AWS, and Google. Happen to be running Databricks in Microsoft Azure here. And one thing I'll point out with Fivetran, I've got multiple destinations. I'm not limited by just having one destination. So in this MDS Databricks HOL account, hands-on lab account, I've got a Databricks lab, Unity Catalog lab, Unity Catalog serverless lab. And you can see how that's configured here. If I go in, I've got determining what UC, what Unity catalog I'm using, where I want to process the data. All those kind of things are really left up to the customer, to the end user. The other thing you can see here is I've got a lot of existing connectors here across those different destinations. And we're going to go with SAP ERP on HANA today and Salesforce. And we're going to set these up. And then I may come back a little bit later on, Quentin, and talk through some of the some of the unique features as well. But I want to get these set up for us and get that moving. So first thing, if I've got multiple destinations configured for this account, Fivetran's going to say, okay, Kelly, which one of these destinations with Databricks do you want to move data to? So I'm going to go with the Unity Catalog serverless destination is what I have it named. And one thing I like to point out, I mentioned 500 plus. It's actually significantly over 500. We're at 545 sources out of the box today across databases, applications, files, and event systems. I think I'm going to go, what do I want to do first today? We'll go Salesforce today. I will set up this Salesforce connector. So this is an application connector. We'll do SAP ERP second. This Salesforce connector, I can name my destination schema anything I want. If I come out here, what I mean by this is, if I come out here to Databricks, you see that my Unity catalog here, and you can see these Databricks databases or schemas that are out here. We're going to name this one. What do we want to call this? We will go predictable Salesforce to Databricks.
So it's going to create the schema if it doesn't
Yeah,
exist,
I don't. You're exactly. You don't see, if you look at this under this TS catalog demo catalog, I do not have anything that says predictable here. So I want to do something totally different. Fivetran is not only going to create the schema, create all the tables, create all the columns for you. Initially, I don't have to do any of that in Databricks. First, Fivetran is also going to manage all the schema drift associated with Salesforce as well. So all that stuff is handled for me automatically. I go out, Fivetran, for application connectors, Quentin, Fivetran is doing an API integration. And I always like to tell folks that, every single application, Salesforce, ServiceNow, Workday, you name it, is going to have a little bit different way that they enable you to interact with that API. So we try to take advantage as much as we can of the capabilities that an application like Salesforce give you. We do things like we even handle formula fields and so forth. So save and test that. You can see I was able to authenticate. I'm going to connect to that API, and this says hands-on lab account. This is Fivetran. We're setting up a production pipeline here. So our connection test passed. Very predictable and standardized in terms of how Fivetran is going to interact with really any application. I'm going to get a list of these, and I'm going against, by the way, Salesforce developer instance. I've got over 1,000 tables in this developer instance. I do not want all of those, but I would like to take 11 tables, and there's a very specific reason why I want to take 11. I don't want to do all 1,100 because we'll probably run out of time as that massive data set over the next 10 minutes is moving data over. I don't have that kind of time, but I'm going to put 11 tables in here because I want to show some out-of-the-box transformations using a great Databricks partner, DBT, as well as a great Fivetran partner. And I'm going to put these 11 tables in here. The reason I'm saying specifically 11 is the models that we're going to build off of these tables it requires all 11. So we're going to enrich and transform and build things like average bookings, total bookings, lead time, all that kind of stuff. So this is the longest part of this demo, is just picking these out individually. I got a couple more. Task, user, and user role.
So that's calling all the Salesforce API.
Yeah.
So it means you don't have to install any agents.
Nothing installed. It's a great question. You're calling the Salesforce API, and you can see I'm going to block all every other table here. And let me show you what I got. I have 11 tables here. Everything else is blocked. And you notice it says review the connector schema below and select columns to block or hash. I can even hash at the column level if I want to for an individual table. If I say, hey, look, all right, in my Salesforce source, it's okay if I've got, I don't know, a driver's license number or some sort of PII type column, but I don't need that in my Databricks Lakehouse data product that I'm building. I don't want to have that there. I want to keep that in the source so I can actually hash at the column level. We also have right now, Quentin, in private preview, we have auto PII detection, which is pretty cool. So it will flag me and say, hey, Kelly, before you send this data over to the Lakehouse, are you sure you want to do that? Or even after it's moved, if it sees some combination, it'll say, ooh, wait a minute, are you sure you want to do this? And I can make some changes there. So right now, I won't hash anything. I've got 11 tables. Let's save and continue. The last thing is, this is pretty cool. So Fivetran is going to move this 11 table data set over for me with Salesforce. But okay, great. I've got my initial data set, my historical sync. What about CDC? What about ongoing replication? What about when something changes in a new schema, a new table, new column is added? Do you want that, Kelly? Do you want some of it? Or are you happy with this data set? You want to block that? And this is part of your decision making around your CDC and incremental change capture. I can determine that here. I'm going to hit continue, and I'm going to say, yeah, let's go ahead. Okay, cool. So I've got a Salesforce connector. I've got some out of the box models that Fivetran will build. Yeah, go ahead and build that. That's all she wrote. Off to the races. Start that initial sync. And I want to go back to setup real quick. I mentioned incremental. I can go down to 1 minute syncs on Salesforce. I can go up to 24 hours and anything in between. I had somebody, Quentin, ask me, that was a while back, they said, hey, Kelly, I need to go beyond 24 hours. Well, 24 hours, that's like usually people want us to go faster than 24 hours, give me down to a minute. I've never really had that one person said, I don't like every week, every 48 hours. I said, well, sorry, you're good. 24 is the best we're going to be able to do there. So this is going to, so you have an active pipeline that is, you can see here, this predictable Salesforce Databricks pipeline that is moving data over to the Unity Catalog Serverless Databricks instance. Let's add an SAP connector here quickly. And then we're going to go check this out. I got to bring up my SAP credentials here. So give me a moment. There we go. All right. I've got a separate screen on that. So SAP, not necessarily the easiest source to deal with, right? I mean, you've got over 100,000 tables. It's hidden behind a NetWeaver application layer. You've got all kinds of incredibly rich data sitting in SAP ERP. You've got multiple applications. You got ECC. That ECC instance could be running with HANA, could be running with Oracle, could be running with SQL Server, could be running with DB2 or something else. Or you might have SAP S4 HANA and the latest and greatest with SAP. I need to be able to get to that data. I might also have some SAP applications like Concur or other SaaS applications. And Fivetran has a range of application or connector options, I should say, for SAP. Today, what I'm going to show you is the SAP ERP on HANA connector. This connector, Quentin, leverages a remote function call that goes through the NetWeaver application layer. Okay, so we're not accessing the database directly. We're going through a NetWeaver remote function call. We've got an SAP transport, Fivetran transport that runs on that SAP NetWeaver layer, and that's this Fivetran NetWeaver API download that you see. If you've got an SAP basis team, they are very familiar with this. This is the way that SAP communicates with the external world, and one of the preferred ways to do that. So you'll notice I've got an application server, and I'm going to copy and paste these things so I don't mess them up. I've got my NetWeaver application server host identifier. I've got my sys number, client number, my user, that looks good, RFC, HVA, and then I'm going to copy my password in here. Also going to connect, I can connect with this SAP ERP on HANA connector. I can go SSH, reverse SSH, or VPN. Today, I am going to go SSH.
And that's where you see the value of Fivetran, right? Good luck trying to do that by yourself with
Well,
all the
and
data sets.
you want optionality here too. You might have customers that want to connect a particular way or have particular ways that their network and security teams connect, and you go, well, I developed this, SSH thing for a customer, but this next customer needs VPN. Those things are really hard to do on a one-off basis. So we do try to get, just like you saw with all those SAP connectors, depending on your database and you got a lot of optionality there. So oh, you know what I didn't do is name my destination schema. So let's go fast, SAP ERP to Databricks. And I think that all looks pretty good. Let's save and test. I'm going to connect to that. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to confirm my SSH fingerprint. That's cool. And I should run through the rest of my tests here. I love with Fivetran SaaS, I love to see the big green box there that says, hey, yes, all your connection tests have passed. That's a great sign. Like things are set up on the back end. You are ready to go. Boy, you don't deploy any infrastructure with Fivetran SaaS at all. This is a little bit different than Salesforce. Now, remember, there's no 1,000 tables in SAP. It's 100,000 tables. So the way we did this, we said, hey, search for the tables that you want to use for your analytics product. So in this case, I'm going to grab a couple. I could grab anything I want. I'm going to grab a couple of tables around material data within SAP. Let's save and continue. The MAKT and MARA tables, we'll move those over to the Lakehouse. And again, that's it. I'm starting that initial sync. I've got that rolling. I'm going to go back out quickly to my Salesforce.
So let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. We see that with the UI. How do you do it in real production deployment? Do you set up everything with the UI? Do you call API? Do you use something like Terraform, to set up the infra? How is it working?
Yeah, you've really got options. It's actually a really good question. Let me go out. I go out to our docs a lot. And if you go out to our docs page, you see this API reference. We have an open API that you can see all the different areas that you can use to enable additional automation as well. We even have things like a Terraform provider. We integrate with things like Prefect and Airflow. So I'm going to say, Quentin, it depends on your use case, and it depends on if I've got 1,000 SQL Server database connectors, I don't probably want to set those up individually. Yes, I would want to automate that. If I'm doing individual connectors, I've got a couple of SAP, I've got a Workday, I've got a ServiceNow, I've got an S3 or whatever it may be, then you can tell, it's very fast to set these up. So you have individual connectors that have a lot of the same connector, I would say go for more automation. If it's more one-off, then just setting it up, just it doesn't take long at all to do that. Does that make sense?
Yep, it makes sense.
See if we've got this. I was going to sync this one more time. I want to pick up transformations here. So let's go out. Go out to, I want to see, what did we call these? We've got, let's see, last synced. Okay, we've got predictable Salesforce. I think the other one I called fast, the SAP. Was it fast? Yeah, this one right here, which is syncing right now. Fast SAP to Databricks. And we'll come back and look at the metrics here in a minute. So predictable is the first one. So I'm in my catalog explorer. We don't see predictable. We don't see fast in these schemas here. Let me refresh my catalog explorer. There's fast right there. Fast SAP ERP. There's MAKT. There is. Oh, by the way, I love this. These suggestions on describing your tables. I have used this quite a bit since it came out in Databricks. I'm going to accept. These are awesome. I'm a huge fan of how Databricks is leveraging AI to quickly enable me to describe these tables that I have. I'm going to hit accept on that one too because I know what these are. They're very very solid. So I've got sample data out here, and whatever is in that SAP table, that MAR and MAKT table, that's what you're going to get out here. It's going to be in typical relational format, columns and rows, and tables, and then I can go and do my enrichment transformations, whatever I want with those at that point. These relatively small data sets, obviously, for purposes of doing this over 10 minutes, but here's that SAP predictable. Let me refresh this one more time. Yeah. Okay. So predictable Salesforce Databricks. Remember we had those 11 tables: account, contact, event. And then we also kicked off that quick start, that transformation. I told you that quick start transformation. If I go out to Fivetran DBT packages right here. If I come out here, I've got, Quentin, over 100 DBT open source packages out of the box that I can use that Fivetran has developed and said, hey, open source community, customers, prospects, partners, feel free to use whatever you want. And I've get these out of the box models that are built that give me, like on this Salesforce sales snapshot, things like average bookings, average days open, average days to close. And that's what I want to show you. The last thing I want to show you on this for the integration with Databricks is I've got all these models built. I didn't actually have to do any transformation work. The models came out of that for me. So if I go out to dashboards, go ahead.
So wait, so was it running on Fivetran, the DBT transformation?
No. Those DBT transformations run in the Lakehouse. Fantastic question. All we're doing is scheduling and orchestrating those. That is native DBT core or DBT cloud running in the Databricks Lakehouse. We don't run any transformations outside of the Lakehouse. Zero.
So you just select the DBT package and run it from Fivetran. It's going to trigger the job in Databricks.
That's right. That's right. It's for let me show you this quick start data models. This is not for every single connector. So I've got quick start data models for pretty good range of connectors here though. These are the ones that are basically just click one button and voila, I've got analytics ready data in the Lakehouse. So that was Salesforce that we used here. Obviously, a relational database, those are going to be very custom. So I don't have quick start data models for that. But there are, if I look out here let's go back up to the DBT package hub. I've got an SAP package out here. It's not a quick start, but if I have DBT Core or DBT Cloud running in my environment, Fivetran can kick off once new SAP data flows into the Lakehouse, Fivetran would automatically kick off those DBT models to run. And so you always have the freshest data downstream because those are running automatically in the Lakehouse once that new data is persisted in. So that's pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna go out to dashboards here real quick, and I again, huge shout out to you for pointing out Lakeview to me, because I've been using the other dashboards, which are awesome, but I like the Lakeview dashboards. Let's create a Lakeview dashboard here. And the first thing we're going to do, all I've got to do on this. So in the other dashboards, we're going to run some queries and kind of build standard. Here, I can actually select a table. Now I'm going to let me select a catalog. We're in that TS catalog demo. And then I think I can select a schema here too. I'm trying to remember what I wanted to select here. What was my Salesforce? Predictable Salesforce. Yeah, I think it was that one right there. I think we called it predictable. So here's all my models out here. Those are staging models. I may not have that persisted out. Let me jump out here. I'm going to use one of these other ones because I don't know if those models have fully generated. Let me get out. This is the same exact connector here. Let's go sales snapshot. Let's see what happens. See what happens if I do this. Salesforce sales snapshot. Oh yeah, there we go. So that actually is that predictable. Remember we called it predictable Salesforce Databricks. That was it. And look what it did, Quentin. So this is my aggregated Salesforce sales snapshot model that gives me bookings amount closed this month, total bookings amount closed this quarter, total bookings. So I'm going to take two of these. We'll take total bookings and total bookings amount. And let's come out here. This is the coolest thing. I really like this. Let's build a visualization. Describe a chart. Total bookings. Okay, I like that. I know that I use this data set a lot. I know that's the right number. That is the coolest thing ever. 3.65 million in total bookings. Let's do one more quick one here.
It looks so easy. I mean, from the ingestion to the
Oh
transformation and
my
the visualization.
gosh,
Like,
are you kidding me? Average bookings didn't like that one. Let's see. Let me go back out to my data. Let me make sure what I've got here. Let's see. What do I have? Oh, I bet if I do this, let's see if that does it. Yeah, there we go. Average bookings, bang. So that's that. I know, again, that is a correct number, that 202. I'm going to accept that. And then if I want to come over here, pop a title on that thing. All right, average bookings. And then over here, let's pop a title on that one. Total bookings. So I don't know. I'm not quite sure how long you and I have been talking. Probably 10 or 15 minutes or so. But Quentin, I'm going to go back out here. We went from no connectivity to either SAP or Salesforce. We used Fivetran to persist that data into the Lakehouse, and we built a very quick, it's simple Lakeview dashboard with that counter visualization. We can name our dashboard here. This is sales.
Yeah, and
metrics.
it could be anything. You could have buy and plots,
and then
and share that with anybody.
I'm ready to publish.
Yeah,
I'm off to the races, and I can view my published dashboard there.
It's amazing.
And it's incredible. So that's some of the power that you get with going. I mean, you think about this in terms of just showing a group within your organization a simple POC. One of the biggest things every time is how do I become relevant in my organization? And you become less relevant the longer the time is that things take, especially to build data products. 2 more weeks. You can get these done very, very fast with Fivetran and Databricks. And obviously, I would probably want to take this. I'd want to do more transformation and enrichment in the Lakehouse. But man, to be able to show data outcome impact quickly, easily, to me, there's no easier way to do that than this combo of Fivetran and Databricks.
Yeah, like the time from ingestion to insight is so small. Like it's really amazing. It's exciting.
And I've got incremental change data capture set up
Yeah, yeah.
automatically. If changes happen in any of my sources, those changes are persisted over on whatever schedule I set up.
And then the dashboard will refresh out of the box because everything will be incremental. What about pricing, by the way? Any impact on the refresh and the pricing? Is it based on freshness?
No, we're continuing to work on how we handle pricing in the most optimal way. Today, it's something called monthly active rows. So it's changes that happen in that source one time during the month. That's kind of how we price. Now, historical sync, any historical sync is 100% free, and 14 days of incrementals are also free. We want to, be able to get a baseline for what that incremental sync is going to be, and then what the monthly active rows are going to be. What rows are changing during the month? Usually, it depends on the data source. If you have a high change type data source, you might be up in that 20 or 25% of your total rows. If it's not a data source that changes a lot, maybe it's in that 2 to 4 or 5%. It just depends. But that's 100% consumption based. That's how we do it. Is based off those changes on the rows during the course of the month.
So wait. So if I have like 1 terabyte of initial data, the initial sync is free, and then I only pay for.
100% free. Yeah,
That's a lot.
every historical sync is free. So all of those two that we just set up, we took a small data set, but yeah, that's there's no charge for that at all.
Man, that's so good. So nothing should
Yeah.
stop anyone from using Fivetran now.
I don't think so. I recommended when I was sitting in the consulting chair for those 5 or 6 years, I recommended Fivetran 125 times, and I just feel like regardless of the data source now and the data workload in the Lakehouse, in the Databricks Lakehouse, I mean, we've got what you saw there. We've got a really, really elegant, easy, seamless way to do that. Then, if you do have, maybe your financial services institution, your healthcare institution say, okay, as much as I would like to do SaaS for my data integration, I really want to deploy this behind my firewall. We have Fivetran self-hosted HVR private deployment for that. So I can put all of my data integration infrastructure behind my firewall or private cloud, do that processing there, and then send it up to the Databricks Lakehouse. So we can cover pure SaaS all the way to pure self-hosted. And so again, there's that optionality, I think, is really important, and it becomes critical the larger the enterprise is.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Kelly. I think that was awesome. Now I want to try to use Fivetran, as much as I can. I hope that was helpful, and thanks so much for your time.
Absolutely. Quentin, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.